Welcome to Naptime Nuggets number 46. We are going to talk about naughty or normal. We're going to look at how to discern, is the child actually being bad? And if they are, is that the label we want to use? Or is there another label that might be more helpful? So if you could change a child's future, literally change a child's future with one word, would you use that word? If those messages you send to a child about how their behavior is, if they're naughty, if that could change their outcomes for life, would you use it? Because it can. So today we're going to be talking about this big question that came up. We were talking about temperament and working with difficult temperament traits, especially in toddlers. And the question came up, okay, so when is it just their temperament and the way that they're wired to respond to the world? And when are they just being naughty? So we're going to take that word to town today. So when can you really discern that they're being naughty or not? And then once you do, what is something that's really helpful to do about it? So hi, everybody. Raylene Osberg here, founder of Thriving Together, where we work to help people gain strategies to increase their success when they're educating young children, because you literally set the trajectory for the rest of that child's life. What you do is absolutely critically important. So here, welcome to Naptime Nuggets, where we lower your stress, enhance your joy, and increase your success in just one nugget a week. I'm so glad you're here. If you like this video, like it below. If you want to subscribe and never miss a video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button when the video is done. If you're viewing this later, I'm so glad you're here too. So what are we going to do today? We are going to look at really what is the reality of this word naughty? What is it? When would we use it? When would it be helpful? When is it not so helpful? And what can we do then when kids are being naughty? So once we've discerned, yes, they're definitely being naughty, would we use that term? And what might be more helpful? So very quick, you're going to get it today. Here we go. So what does the word naughty mean? What does it mean? It means disobedient, badly behaved. It's related to misbehavior. And when it is extensive, it qualifies as vicious in moral character. So when would you use that label to describe a young child? Vicious, morally vicious, disobedient, bad, right? That having a bad moral character. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to give you a 3-step process today. The first thing is you consider your goals. What are your goals when you're raising this child and educating and loving this child? What kind of child do you want them to end up being? What kind of human? How do you want them to behave at the end? Because most of my graduate work was actually done looking at temperament. And one thing we found out over years and years and years of research is that what the label is for the child is what they end up becoming. Literally. It's exciting because their temperament does not set them on a trajectory for failure. If they have a very difficult temperament, they can still end up being successful. However, they need a good fit with the environment. So if they start getting these labels that they're naughty, that they're bad, that they're a pain, then they start acting more naughty over time. So what they did is they looked at houses. Let's say they contrast label their kids. So one is, this is my good child. This is my well-behaved child. This one's my monster. This one's my naughty child. You know what ended up happening over time? That child that was labeled naughty became more and more and more difficult over time. The child that was labeled good, of course, had good behavior. And then even what would happen is, let's say 5-6 years later, something about that child is really valued by the family. The child starts being really loved and valued. Then their behavior starts to improve. And guess what? The other child starts to behave worse. So our labels are really powerful. So first, I want you to consider your goals. Do you want to make a child be naughty? Do you want to make them have a negative outcome for their entire life? It really does impact everything. So a provider at this training was sharing with me that she had this little child come to her care at 2 years old who had been kicked out of 2 childcares. And when he would misbehave, she would go try and redirect him. And he would say, I naughty. Imagine if you're 2 years old and everything inside of you says that you're naughty, that everybody around you is telling you that you're naughty. How are you going to be successful then? How are you going to believe in your great potential if everybody's telling you you're naughty? So contrast labeling is not a good idea. So what can we do though? Okay, so first you're going to decide on your goal. So if you want to raise the child up to be this compassionate, loving, kind, well-behaving human, then we need to consider what labels we're going to give them, right? Number 2, I want you to ask yourself a very important question. Are they? Are they being naughty? So I love this article. I'm going to link to it in the notes when I'm all done, because it's asking the question of, are kids actually acting naughty in these certain situations? So sometimes they're not actually acting naughty. So I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm curious what you guys think of this. So one is, are kids being naughty when they're not controlling their impulses? So when they feel big, strong feelings and they act out, are they being naughty because they feel those big feelings? So over 50% of adults reported in a 0 to 3 study that they believe kids under 3 can stop themselves, can stop themselves from doing something they really want to do just because it's forbidden. You know what the research shows? It takes till 3.5 to start to get the brain networks you need to stop your impulses, to control your impulses. And as we know, even adults sometimes have difficulty with this. So a child is not being naughty just because they can't control themselves every moment, right? Sometimes they have these strong impulses. Second, if they're overstimulated, if a child is having meltdowns, hyperactivity, and they're all out resisting you, they might actually be overstimulated. So if they've been in childcare or group settings all day, that's hard on some of us adults. So of course they might be having these behaviors if they've just had too much. Now, if it's after childcare and they're going to an activity, they're going to Target and Menards before they get a chance to go home and eat, yeah, you might have some resistant negative behaviors. Are they being naughty? No, they're overstimulated. How about if they're exhausted, totally tired out? How do you behave when you're exhausted? So is a child who's exhausted being naughty? How about hangry? Is a child who's just like really uncomfortable because they're just hungry? Are they being naughty? So here's a question we can ask ourselves. How about if they need movement? If they're one of those kids that's either a highly active kid, so they need to move to feel good. So if they sit for a long period of time, they get grumpy and it's hard for them to behave well. Are they being naughty? And then how about, I love this one, last one on this. How about if they have a strong drive for independence? You know, those toddlers who get in that developmental stage where they're like, me do it. I need to stay for myself. Are they being naughty then? How about those 3 to 5-year-olds who everything in their body says, I need to have control here. I need to not be told what to do all the time. And if I am, I need to start fighting for my right as a human to say for myself. That's what they start doing. It's natural. It's in their wiring. So are they being naughty? So first we're looking at what are our goals. We want to build the child up to make them believe that they can be successful. So that's going to take positive labels. Second, we want to ask ourselves, are they really being naughty? Are they really misbehaving? And in many scenarios, they are not. They're just reacting to the environment that they are being provided. They're young kids. They haven't learned what to do in all these difficult situations. They're learning. And what we do can make a big difference. So lastly, what do you do then, though, if it's not connected to that and they really are appearing to just be naughty? What can you do then? Well, what is recommended is that you actually use a label for the behavior, not the child. I know it seems like a nuance, but it makes a big difference. If I believe I'm really mad, I'm really upset right now, so I act out, and now I believe I'm naughty, I'm a bad person because I feel these strong feelings, that's going to be really hard on my soul, right? That's going to be hard on how I view myself. And if I start believing that, I'm going to start behaving worse. So label the behavior. That behavior is not acceptable. I don't care how mad you are, you cannot hit your friends. and then teach them what they can do with that anger. We have lots of videos at Thriving Together on that, of course, past Naptime Nuggets. I'm not going to repeat that. But so what you want to do is really reframe that behavior, that it's about the behavior, not the child. So if a child is getting into something they shouldn't, you can say, oh, you're feeling so curious right now. You can go explore this toy. You are not allowed to get in mommy's drawer or my drawer here at childcare. So you're labeling the behavior, not the child. And then search for the why. Put yourself in the child's shoes. Why do they have this behavior? Because that's going to tell you maybe what you can do about it. Behavior is purposeful. There is something going on behind the behavior. They're not doing it just to get at you. Why would a child want to get at you? And if you really think they do, then we have a problem with the relationship. How can we start to build that connection and that love and that appreciation and valuing of each other to where the child wants to behave well for you? So that's just the 3 things I'm thinking of when it comes to naughty. I'm wondering about your comments, your ideas. When is it a time that you would say, you know what, this child really is misbehaving and I need to address the misbehavior and maybe I feel like I want to punish? Even though sometimes punishment gets more negative behavior, not less, but knowing that we need to get away from those negative labels. Just because you're feeling curious or upset or stressed out or hungry or tired doesn't mean you're naughty. And just because they haven't learned to hide their feelings like us adults have doesn't mean they're naughty. So let's work with them to provide labels for the behavior and teach them what they need to do, how to behave, how to get their needs met without doing the negative behaviors rather than focusing on labeling them. Remind ourselves, you remind you, I'll remind me, because sometimes when we're stressed out, it's hard. Remind yourself that kids can't always manage those strong impulses. They don't always know what to do with those strong feelings. So let's have a little bit of empathy for what it's like to be 1 or 5 or 8 and keep loving up those kiddos. I need to believe in my great potential. So make sure 5 to 7 positives for every 1 negative. That's how you're going to build up the positive side of this child and let the child know that they have great potential, that you believe in them, that this behavior is not okay, but you know they're going to learn how to behave well and you love that child. And then you will be setting that child on a trajectory for success for the rest of their life. Worth it. Worth it. So thank you so much, you guys, for attending today. If you have any questions, I will be around, but I really want to make sure we keep connecting every week. I'm going to keep bringing you tips and tools at Naptime Nuggets. So stay with me the next few weeks. I will be here for you. And let me know if there's any topics you're really, really wishing that we could talk about. I'm going to link to that really important article. You can share it on Facebook. You can share it on your other networks with families so that we can start getting away from labels that are not helpful and start supporting and loving children just as they are, those loving, learning, struggling little bodies that are trying to figure out our culture and our world and how to be successful in it. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you like this video, put the thumbs up and I will know I'm on the right track here with you guys all today. Subscribe to my channel. I'll be coming to you every week with tips and tools to increase your success, decrease that naughty stress. We don't like stress. We like joy. We want more joy in our lives. So thanks so much, you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Over and out.